All right, here we go. We're on the third part of our project here, plugging along. So we have a form here that we can put information in. Grapes of Wrath, John Steinbeck. I don't know what year it was released. I'm just gonna put something down. I'm gonna say like 19, I don't know, 31. Uh, I have the paperback. It's fiction. 1939. Thanks. It's classic. Uh, very much horror. It's just sad. Just a real depressing book. Anyways, I press submit, and there I get the instance of book, and I get book info. So I got all the properties there. Cool. Which means I also have access to get description and return genres. Okay. So let's see how we could do that. Well, let's go to our code. Okay. And let's say inside of our button here, okay, where we're consoling the book, we got access to book. That means I should be able to console. Let's say I can say, um, I can run book dot return genres. And if I do that, I'm going to do the same thing. I need another book. Somebody help me.
The sun also rises.
The Sun Also Rises. Who's the author?
Ernest Hemingway.
You know what year?
Like 26.
That 1926? That old? Not 1026. Okay. Uh, we'll say hardback, fiction. What else? Classic. Um, I don't know. Just put some other stuff in here. I'm just gonna add some stuff in here just because we wanted to show the genres. What we want to return the genres. So when I click submit, there we see listed out all of the genres. Cool. So we know that's working. So not we using the class means that we can run these methods and these methods will work. All right, great. Fantastic. But that's not necessarily what we want to do, not in this case. But what we want to do now, because we've collected the data, we've actually validated the data by using parse int here for your release. We're storing the data into this object, this book info. So we're getting a new instance. So it's stored away. We could also take these books and store them in an array if we want to. We can, here in the constructor, I could say this dot library. Okay. And with that, what we could do is we can say, I'll write a method here called build library. And what we would do is, excuse me, we can take an object, and then what we could do is we could say this dot library we'll spread out this dot library and add the object so that we can build up a library of the books we have. It's just that simple. We just need an empty array right here inside of the constructor. So there is a library if we want to do that. Now, I'm not going to do this because with book is an instance of a single book. And so I'm not going to have a library of books inside of the books, but just showing you this is something else that we could do if we want to do that. we'd have to change some stuff up. This wouldn't be a class book, if you will. But we restored the data in this .book info. We validated here. We need to display the data. All right. So how do we do that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to build out cards. That is going to come. We're going to write a function out here outside of the class again. And I'm just going to call it const build card. And build card is going to take 2 arguments. The first argument is going to be an object, which is going to be this .get info, well, this .book info. So an object is going to be, again, the first argument. The second one is going to be a function, okay? And matter of fact, we may do 2 functions. Maybe we'll also return genres as well. No, I'm going to leave it like that. All right. So now here's where we're going to build the card out. Okay. And we're not going to use images or anything, although that is something that you could do. You can, add an image to your card, perhaps, build an images folder in your project and store the images of the different books, or you could just, grab them off the web. Don't just grab, whatever. Just find an image of the book cover somewhere and use that if you want to. Not going to worry about that. You would have to add that input field as well to be able to collect images. At any rate, it's just going to be a card with the title, a list of the genres, and other information about the book. Okay, so to get started with build card, we need to first get access of our card row, which is down here in our HTML where we built out card row here. Okay, so I need access to it. So I'm going to come over here and say const row gets document .get element by ID card row. So now we're going to build out the card. Okay, now when you build out the card, you could use inner HTML and just kind of build out a template with an HTML template that can be used there inside of the row. I'm not going to do it that way, just because I don't particularly like to do it that way. I don't like HTML just kind of being structured like that inside of my JavaScript, especially at that amount, because there you have room for some corruption. So I'd rather not do it that way, although you could. I'm going to build out my elements here inside of build card. So I got my row. Now what I need is a column. So I'm going to say const column. It's going to get document dot. I'm going to create an element. I'm creating a div. And then this column needs a class. I'm going to say column.ClassList.add. I'm going to add the class COL. This is a bootstrap class that creates a column, much like what we've already seen with our form. Okay. Now I need to build out my card. Okay. So I'm going to say const card is going to get document. This is also going to be create element. And this is also going to be a div. and we need to add the class. Say card.classlist.add. I'm going to add the class card. That is a Bootstrap class. We're also going to add another Bootstrap class, H-100, which just normalizes the height of each card. So that way they're all the same height. All right. Next thing I need is the card body. So I'm going to say const card body. It's going to get document.create element. And we could use a section. We could use a main div. I'm going to use a div. So document.create element, we're going to create a div here. And then I'm going to say card body dot class list dot add, and it's going to get the class card dash body. Now we're ready to stuff inside of the body. So I want my different titles to be an H3, because I believe on card section we made that an H2. Yeah, so these will need to be H3s. So this would be the title of the book. So I'm going to say const, I'll just say title is going to get document.create element. This is going to be an H3. Then I can say title dot class list dot add, and we're going to add the classes. I'll say card dash title. That's a Bootstrap class. Also going to add text dash capitalize. We can also, give a little color. Let's say text dash. Oh, this needs to be in quotes. Say text dash primary. I think that's good. And now what we'll do is, now we'll put our text in there. So we'll say title dot inner text, excuse me, is going to get, this will be object dot book title. Just that simple. And that's going to create the title for the text. So we're building out these HTML elements one by one, like so, giving them classes. Okay, we can also add some IDs if we want to. But we're giving them all of this. And then we're going to place the value, whatever the object, whatever is inside the object, meaning, if book title is Catcher in the Rye, then that's what will get stored here. Pretty simple. And there's some normalization that we could do with this. For instance, say with title, we could, to lowercase or to uppercase. There's a lot of different things that we could do. And normally I would say, let's do that to normalize our data. In other words, get everything kind of formatted the same way. I don't want to worry too much about that. This is kind of more like an overarching lesson on like how we're collecting the data, and then what are the different things we could do with the data. Okay, so again, I want to spend a whole lot of time on that. Okay, so there's book title. So now what we can do is we can get the author. All right, so I'm going to say const author. It's going to get document.create element. This will be a p tag. And we'll say title. Not title. I'm saying looking at title. Author.class list.add. And what we'll do is we'll say this would be card dash text. Also, we'll add text dash capitalize. I'm going to say text dash danger. And I'm going to add FST dash italic. So these are just some Bootstrap classes. We're just going to do some styling for us. Okay. That's all that it's really doing. Nothing more than that. And then we can say author dot inner text is going to get object dot book author. All right. And then let's see, we'll also let's store, well, let's get the category, and we'll put that here. So we'll say const category, and just so I won't be confused, I'm going to say category text. It's going to get document dot create element, do another p tag, category text dot class list dot add. Going to add card dash text, and going to add text dash capitalize. And I'll say category text dot inner text is going to get object dot category. All right. Now let's get the genres. Okay. But the genres, what we're going to do is we're going to need to loop through them, and we're going to make a list for the genres. Okay. So we'll need to create use a for loop to say, hey, loop through the genres, and for each genre, let's make an li with the text in there, and then store that in the excuse me, store that in the ul. We'll do a ul. So I'm gonna say const ul is gonna get document dot create element. I'm gonna create a ul. All right. I think I just want to use just regular styling. I know I don't want to do a list group. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do a list group flush. I'm thinking with the list. Where are you, list? I don't think I want to do too much with the list. I don't think it's here in typography. Oh, so it is, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to do list unstyled. I do want to style my list. So, yeah. So no, yeah, I'm not going to use any Bootstrap styling for this. All right, so there's my document dot create element. I can give it an ID if I want to. I can say ul dot set attribute ID is going to be, I'll give it the ID of genre list. Okay. Now I need to make my li. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to target my object. Okay. And from that object, I need that genre property, or genres. What do we call it? We call it genre right here. So this is where we're pulling from right here. So So I'm gonna say object.genre dot for each. And we'll say for each genre, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna say const li is document dot create element, gonna make an li for those. And then I'm going to say li dot class list dot add, just gonna add the class list dash item, like so. Yep. I'll also add class list text dash capitalize. Although everything's pretty much kind of been normalized within the form and such, still want to just be mindful of this. All right. And then we're going to say li.enter text is going to get genre. And then after that, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to say ul.append child. We're going to append, not child, but we're going to append the li for each one of them. All right. And last thing we'll do is we'll make like a little description. Well, we'll make a footer for that. So I'll say const card footer. It's going to get document dot create element rather. I want to create a footer. And then I'm going to say card footer dot class list dot add. I'm going to add a card dash footer. Yep. And then inside of that footer, we will make we'll put the description in here. So I'll say const description. Whoop. Is going to get document dot create element. We'll create another p tag. Say description dot class list dot add. This will be card dash text. Also, we'll add FST dash italic. And then what we'll do now, what we're going to do here, we're going to run this function that we're passing into build card. And that function that we're going to pass in is right here, get description, where we need the book title, we need the author, and we need the year released. So I'm going to say description dot enter text is going to get, and here I'll put function object dot book title, comma, object dot book author, object dot year released. So we're going to pass in this little message that we've made about the book. That's going to be the inner text. So it's important back up here in get description. that we're returning this. So when this method is being ran, when this function is being ran, what are we returning? We're returning this string. Okay, so the string is going to get returned as the inner text. That's what we're doing here. And so once we got that done, now what we can do is we can start putting all these pieces together. I'm going to say card footer. Well, before I do card footer, I'm going to start off with the card body. So card body dot append child. First thing we're going to append is the, what's it, the title. Yep. And then the author. Card body dot append child. Now we're adding these things to the card. So there's author. Yep. And then category. Card body. Oh, dot append child. Add the category or category text. And then the UL. We need to do it in order, in the order that we want it to be displayed. Card body dot append child, append the UL. Cool. Now we need to do our footer. So I'll say card footer dot append child description. Next thing we need to do is take these two elements, the card body and the card footer, and append it to the card. So I'm going to say card dot append child card body. Then I'm going to say card dot append child card footer. Now that they've been appended to the card, we got to pin the card to the column. So I'm going to say column dot append child card. And then lastly, we're going to say row dot append child column. So I like to build out my HTML elements like so, as opposed to using dot inner HTML because this is more protective than inner HTML. So I prefer doing it this way. So now we've got card built out. So we're going to do this when we hit submit button. So the submit button is going to collect the data. It's running get info. Right, creating an object. Well, creating a new instance based off an object. Now we don't want it to console.log book anymore. We don't want to do that. But what we do want it to do is now we want this button to run build card, run the build card function, and we're going to pass in book.bookinfo as our object, and we're going to pass in book.getDescription as our function. So the object book info, which is right here, whatever we get in here, that is going to be the object that is used to build the cards. Likewise, the function get description, that is the function that is being used down here for description. When we run this function, we run this function here to be displayed as an inner text. So this should work. I hope it does. Let's come back over here to HTML. Come back over here to Grapes of Wrath. Author is John Steinbeck. We said what, 1939. Say a classic and a very real horror story. I can close up this console. I don't think I need you anymore. All right, click submit. Oh, maybe I do need it. Huh. Let's see. What's the error message we got? Oh, it doesn't like something. Get info on line 65. Didn't we check this? This was fine before. Oh, you know what? I didn't check anything, did I? I didn't. Yeah, that's why. And there we go. So that's probably something that I need to do inside my form to make sure that something is checked, or I can default with my radios to have something selected. I can do that. So in other words, here are my radios. I can come over here inside my HTML and let's say I want to default not fiction. I can add the selected attribute here. So when I come over here, that's not doing it. Or is it true? I don't think it's true. I don't say, do I use checked? Yeah, okay, so I use checked instead. So I can set a default to be checked. And I'll do that for those inputs. So that something must be there. All right, so now I can come back over here. What's the book? Brian Greene is the author. Now I got to look at my office and see what the name of it is. Hidden Reality. No. Yeah, this one right here. This one was great. He's not going to pay me, so I'm not going to show the book here on the camera. But this one right here. What year was this? Was it 99? Is that what I read?
That guy's like the British physicist.
No, he's American.
Oh, he's a physicist.
Yes, correct. Okay, this one's paperback. This is nonfiction. This is science. Okay. And if I click submit, there's my card there. Cool. Now I want to try something out. What I want to do is inside of my button, I'm going to remove the event and prevent default. Let's see if that does anything. I'm going to put Elegant Universe back in here. Did I add a... Looks like I thought I added something. That's just the screen. Let's see. Paperback, nonfiction, science. Oh, so flash too fast. So no, I do want to keep that there. All right. So this is cool. We now have a form that will allow us to enter data, and we check for the data to kind of validate it. Not kind of, we are validating it. Then what we're doing is we're collecting it, we're storing it away inside of an object. We're in a class, so we're actually building an instance each time we create a book. And then we are building a card based off that book and displaying that data. So it's a lot that's going on here. You should feel pretty proud of yourself if you followed along and have done the lesson. How long did it take us? Oh, it took us forever. It took us at least 6 weeks to do this. Um, so yeah, this is a nice little project right here. I would strongly recommend that you do this over and over again. And again, as I always say, this is a way to do it. It is not the way. So if you want to try building this again, the same one in a different way, I recommend doing that. Also, if you want to do something else, maybe not books, maybe you want to do movies, maybe you want to do musicians, different dishes, what have you, countries, anything that you want to do, anything that you're interested in, is good to just go out and do this. This is giving you a good understanding of how we can work with forms, how we collect data from a form, and then what can we do with the data. Obviously, you may want to do something more than just displaying the data, right? But that's up to you and whatever it is you want to do. So yeah, that's this lesson. Only took 3 sections. Kind of proud of myself, pat myself on the back. If you like these videos, please go ahead and like, comment, share, all this stuff, because the executive producer was not able to make it today. So wishing executive producer well, and maybe the executive producer needs a bowl of soup or something like that. So anyways, y'all peace out. Take care.